Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Monday, June 29th. Wonderful year of 2020. And we are here to talk some KBO. I'm here with Mr. Takedown himself, the big winner from last week, rolling into this week's action red hot. And that's my partner in crime here, Andrew Hansen. How are you, Andrew?
Doing well, thanks. Yeah, we got to hope that we stay hot here even with the day off, and that we're actually just better here with some rest after no games yesterday, no podcast, no KBO. We're back on it here for the Monday night's podcast for Tuesday morning games in South Korea, and we'll see if we can keep it rolling.
It was so weird last night, actually sleeping through the entire night.
I know.
I got up this morning feeling all fresh, and I was like, what's going on? Oh, this was what it feels like. I forgot
right.
to get like 7 straight hours sleep. It was amazing.
Unheard of.
Hey, we're close though. We're counting down the days. We're getting close to U.S. sports coming back. Knock on wood, everything still goes well, but yeah, it's getting very exciting. But anyway, before we get started, real quickly, we want to thank our sponsors that bring this podcast forward. That's mybookie.ag. They go to mybookie.ag for all your sports wagering and casino action. And use the promo code CoachTalk, all one word, when you sign up for MyBookie, wherever you sign up. And you get with that Coach Talk promo, you get a 50% signing bonus up to $1,000. And they also throw in a $25 free play, which is wonderful. Also, tvg.com, that's where the world goes to watch and wager on horse racing. Join tvg.com through the DFS Coach Talk website, and you get an exclusive offer just by clicking on it through our website that gives you a risk-free $300 bet. And can't find that anywhere else. TVG has done that specially for us, and we love those guys over there, and take advantage of it. Take a nice shot. Can you imagine if you do take a shot on like a 10 or 15 to 1 shot with $300 and he wins? Good Lord, that's some cash. And if he loses, you get your money back from them. So it's a great deal. So take advantage of that for sure. And then jumping into KBO action, we had our meteorologist hats on. That's watching the weather, trying to figure out exactly the time and the whole 9 yards of what takes place. And if you remember and watch as we talk about weather with KBO throughout the year, they have a very high propensity of calling games when they've had fairly consistent rain throughout the day. They don't delay them. They don't play and stop and resume. Their attitude is, if it rains and it's super wet, they're just going to reschedule. And they have the ability to do that as opposed to the MLB because they're a bus ride away from any of their games. They're all within a 4-hour bus ride no matter which way you go, or even less than that. Some of them are much closer. And, with only 10 teams in the league, you're able to schedule double headers and everything. So they don't even mess around with it. Like with our MLB, it's always a nightmare. They try to squeeze games again at 2 o'clock in the morning because it messes up travel, and they're going coast to coast, and they have 30 games in 30 days with all the teams. And so it's a whole different game plan. So saying that, we study the weather pretty well. We feel extremely confident that 4 of the 5 games will play, and we feel pretty darn confident, especially I do, that the KT and LG game is going to rain out. It's in Seoul, and it's been raining there for the last 3 or 4 hours. It's supposed to rain there the next 3 or 4 hours, and we're still a little ways out from when it's going to be played. So there is the potential that plays. We're going to touch on the game briefly, but we're both building our lineups and player pools and strategies on the 4 games that we know are going to play. Now, the big advantage you have with us, as always, is we are, Shane and Andrew and I are always all in Discord at least 30 minutes. I've been in there like 45 minutes until lock each night. And the games are all at 5:30 a.m. Eastern. So as normal, about 10 to 5 o'clock at the latest Eastern, will all be in there. So if the game does play, then we've already got a few guys we'll pivot to and put them back in play. But if it doesn't, we'll already have everything in place. But it's a big advantage. Some of the big takedowns we've had this year have been on slates where we've had that weather and scratch advantage, where everybody else, some people, aren't getting up in time to change it, or they're not changing at all, etc. So, hey, every edge we can get is another place we can move up in some of these GPPs, and certainly in the cash games. You're going head to head with somebody that has someone that takes a 0, you got a great chance. So that's the way we're going to attack this slate. And, anything you want to add from there, Andrew, before we start in game one?
No, well said. Yeah, we're going to be taking advantage of this weather situation one way or the other. We'll be ready to swap back if we need to. But as you said, we're going to build just with these 4 games and not be stressed at all when the game is rained out.
Excellent. All right, first game on the board. It is the Hanwha Eagles. Hanwha is last in the league at 12-36 against the Kia Tigers. Kia is 5th at 24-21. And we go to the mybookie.ag odds, refreshed right now. So we have up to the minute. And we have the Kia Tigers, a gigantic 333 favorite. There's 2 north of 300 favorites today, and this is one of them. Kia is the biggest, minus 333, over under 9.5. And we've got 2 9.5s and 3 10.5s on the board today. So that's interesting. Could be a lot of runs out there. So that those are the odds on game one. Which makes Kia very interesting to play here. Are you going to be loading up on some of these Kia bats?
Yeah, I will have some exposure to the bats, and I do like their pitcher as well. So we've got Ki Young Im, 7,800 on DraftKings, ERA under 3, going against the terrible Hanwha team. I just think he's a pretty solid play here. Solid strikeout rate, 39 strikeouts in 43 innings. He's only given up 2 home runs. So I feel pretty confident rolling him out there. And then, with these bats, they get to face off against Shihuan Zhang with an ERA over 6. He's got a WHIP over 2. He does strike a lot of guys out, but he's also given up 5 home runs. And lefties hit 381 against him this year with 3 homers. So I like H. Cha here for sure at 4,700. When they faced off earlier, he went 2 for 2 with a walk. Then we got to deal with Preston Tucker here, who is a big bopper, but he went 0 for 4 against this guy, and he's mired in a 1 for 19 slump. No. So it's tough. He's one of those guys where hopefully he's going to benefit from the day off. I'll have some exposure to him, but he's just been so cold. It's tough to go all in against him or go all in with him. So I'll also look at MU at 3,500, first baseman on DraftKings.
Okay. Yeah, he's good. I'm with you. M's my favorite pitcher on the board. So boom, there we go. I've got that one out there. I just think the matchup's great. It's against Hanwha. M's been solid. I like the way he's trending. Feel comfortable with him getting the win and quality start here, which of course means a lot on FanDuel. So all over that. So obviously not interested in any of the Hanwha bats. I'm with you on Kia sticks. I mean, I think H. Cha's probably one of the best bets and plays of the night. I also like some of the righties. I think Sunbin Kim is playable. Even the H. Kim, the leadoff player. I'm with you on Tucker. I like him. He's a lefty. If he's at home, if he's going to break out of the slump, it's going to be against a guy like this. But it's so hard to pay that price, for a guy 1 for 18 in his last 18 at bats. So something to think of. I'm on the fence there, but definitely also like Jiwon Na a little bit, and you also. So I think you can go basically 1 through 6 and scatter stack, like 3 of these guys. But if you take Tucker and Cha, there's some expense there, and you got to make that decision on the front side. But I'm with you. I think they're the biggest favored for a reason. Again, watching the weather here, it says 16% chance of rain, but watching the weather, I think that's not going to be any factor in this game, and I think we should be fine. All right, why don't we just touch on game 2, because we're as of right now at 74% rain on here. Andrew and I have determined we feel it's going to rain out, so we're not going to be rostering anybody here. But let's just talk about it for a second. I'm not even going to read the odds because I don't think this game's playing. But if it does play and we do jump into Discord, do you have any guys here that you like and are planning on rostering?
Yeah, I like these LG bats tonight. Min-Soo Kim, lefties hit 395 against him. He's been roughed up by these guys when he was in the bullpen. And you look at C. lead off, G1O, H. Kim, Ramos. That's 1 through 4. They're all lefties. We talk about it a lot. Ramos actually hit a 3-run walk-off bomb against this guy. So they all have had success against him. So even Ho Yun Kim, the 6-hitter for 2,400, I like all those lefties. So this was going to be my biggest stack of the night before the rain out news.
Yeah, it was mine too, and that's what we talked about ahead of time. Is the thing that stinks is I think these lefty bats could have had a real party. I got the old coach quiz for you though.
Okay.
How many times has Mr. Ramos batted without hitting a home run?
How many games has he played without hitting a home run?
At bats.
Oh, consecutive at bats?
Correct.
I'll say 25.
38.
Yikes.
That's a big ass slump because that dude was hitting a home run a game, it seemed like, for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I know Sugar Shane, he is bound and determined to have him when he hits that homer, no matter how many times he has to put him on there. But I get it, man. Hey, I'm a guy that used to roster Jared Hoying, so I'm not making fun of anybody. But, if this game plays, I agree with you. Those 4 lefties at the top of the lineup just look nice and juicy. Lee and O and Kim, I like all those guys. So that certainly will come into play if, for some bizarre reason, our meteorological standards aren't up to bat here. So, all right, we're going right to game 3 because that game's not going to play. It is Lotte Giants 22-23 at the NC Dinos, top record in the league, 32-14. MyBookie.ag has the Dinos just a cool 322 favored. So I don't know if you want to parlay Kia and NC. I mean, that parlay isn't going to pay too well, minus 333 and minus 322. But the Dinos, monster favorite. It is a 10.5 over under. And let's see what you got. Is this a key game for you?
Well, it's becoming more of a key game with the likely rainout. But I would not parlay Kia and the Dinos tonight. I think the Dinos are potentially, at risk of an upset here. I know they've got Mike. Yeah, I know they've got Mike Wright on the hill. Very good pitcher. But righties hit 274 against him. And we know that the Lotte lineup, they all hit righties better than lefties, even though they are predominantly righties. We've talked about it several times. But listen to these numbers. Hoon Jung hits 340. Asiap Sun is the one lefty up there. He hits 402 against righties.
I know.
Jay Gion, 313 with 8 homers. Dai-Ho Lee, 292 with 4 of his homers. Machado, 328 with 4 homers. All 5 of those guys are in play for me as hopefully a little bit lower owned. And oh, by the way, their prices are down a little bit on DraftKings because of the matchup. So, you can build a sneaky stack with these guys, or I like at least a one-off with either Asiop Sun or Jay Gion.
I'll tell you, it wouldn't be a bad night to put $100 on Lotte plus 227.
Yep.
You're not going to find that very often. I'm with you. I'm not on the Mike Ryan right bandwagon anymore. I think he's declined a little bit, and this matchup is not conducive to me for the best matchup that he could get. I think he'll be highly owned, but I am not on the Mike Wright side of things. And Daewoo Kim from Lotte either. So I like playing, picking and choosing some at bats on both of these sides. One or two guys at least from each side. I'm a big Asiop Son fan as it is. I think this is a terrific matchup for him. Like you say, you're batting 400 against righties, who there's more righties than lefties. That's saying a lot. So I think you can definitely cherry pick a few Lotte guys, and same thing with NC Dinos. I think Sungbum Na is always very playable. He's capable of as big a game as anybody. Kang, his price is up there now as well. And if you have a bunch of money left over, do you want to use Yang as a catcher? You can, but I think actually I'm with you. I probably have a little bit more tendency to one or two stack the Lotte side and maybe just one off with the Dinos.
Yeah, and the Dinos, they really have an interesting matchup because this pitcher, Daewoo Kim, is a reliever. This is his first start of the season.
Right.
And he doesn't have a very good ERA, but over his last 7 appearances, he hasn't allowed a single earned run. The maximum number of pitches he's thrown this year is 30. So we may get to the bullpen here somewhat early, but Lotte has a very strong bullpen. So, even though you see a starting pitcher here with an ERA of 4.6, you might think, well, let's load up with the Dinos bats. I don't think it's as simple as that. But again, because of LG likely not playing, I'm going to have more exposure to these bats than I would have. And one guy I want to mention is Min-Woo Park. He's expensive on DraftKings, 5,200, but he went 4 for 5 in the last game with a home run. I think Suckman Park is really trending in the right direction, but he's expensive. He's hitting down in the order. I did want to mention him. And the unfortunate thing for me is because they're facing a righty, I usually like to jump on these lefties, Sungbum Na and Jin Hyuk No, but they've been kind of cold lately. So it's a really mixed bag for me tonight with the Dinos hitters in this matchup. But so in the end, I think I'll probably play around with, getting in one or two of them in most lineups.
And, just to, more to your point there, I'm not afraid to roster Na or Yang or Kang, because the righties are probably only going to face this guy 1 or 2 times. I don't think he'll pitch more than 3 innings, and they're going to be in the bullpen. So, and very well could bring a lefty in, and then all of a sudden things are flipped. They could get three at bats against a lefty. So, I think that's wide open. And I wouldn't worry about the righty lefty thing as far as the Dinos hitters.
Right on.
All right, man. We're on game 4. Doosan Bears 28-19 against the Kiwoom Heroes. They are a sneaky 30-18. Look out for Kiwoom. That is the team on the move. We've got Kiwoom a 136 favorite against Doosan. Doosan's been underdogs quite a bit in the last week, believe it or not. They've been very odd, but over-under in that game's 10.5. Expecting some serious runs there. And I'll let you go to town here and tell me what you think about this game, but I can tell you this much. I like the sticks in this game.
Okay. Well, I like the sticks for Kiwoom a little bit better. Huey Kwan Yu, we've talked about how we're just not huge fans of him.
No.
He's a lefty, and lefties are still managing to hit 375 against him.
Exactly.
The strange thing with him, though, is last year he had a lot of success against Kiwoom, In 22 and a third innings, he only gave up 7 earned runs, so 2.82 ERA. And the guy who really didn't do much at all against him was Jung-Hoo Lee. So
Okay.
I'm not planning to play him, but I am going to play some of these other guys because I think uh, he just doesn't look that sharp or overpowering at all. I mean, he never strikes guys out this year. So I like Hai-Sung Kim here. He bats 310 against lefties. He did well against you last year, and he's likely to hit in the 2-hole with Ha-Seong Kim out. So Hai-Sung Kim at 2,700 I like in the middle infield. And then the Park boys, I like them both here. I could easily see them both going yard. Byung Ho is only 4,300. Dong Won is 5,200. So I'm going to probably get, 2 of those bats in every game. But I don't like the Doosan bats quite as much because this lefty, Seung-Ho Lee, last 18 innings he's pitched, he's only given up 2 earned runs. So who do you like for Doosan tonight?
I actually like Koon-Woo Park. I think he's got a good chance to get some hits in the middle of this order. J-Il-O can hit lefties, certain lefties. He's done a good job this season throughout. I think, the only problem with him, he's a little overpriced. Fernandez has let me down the last couple of times. I'm a little sour there. But looking for some runs, some possible steals, and some production. Her's not bad at the top of the lineup either, especially when on DraftKings, a lot of times it's hard to find a third baseman. So I like, intermittent guys between those top 6 in the order. And on the Kiwoom side, I love the Park boys. I'm with you, both B and D Park. On FanDuel, for me, they're plug and plays 14 and 9. I think they're both priced very well there for 4 or 5 hitters that both have a ton of pop against a guy that definitely can give up some right-handed power. Easily could see myself 2 guys on each side, just depending on the build, maybe even a third. But I'm all over the Parks tonight. I think they're both in a great situation.
Yeah, Dong Won Park is just unbelievably underpriced on FanDuel. They just won't raise his price over $10. It's just ridiculous. So
a lot of that's because people don't roster catchers on FanDuel because you don't have to,
right?
And they just don't even look at them for some reason. But and granted, I get it because there's really maybe 3 guys that you can really want to roster on FanDuel with Yang and Park, and sometimes you as well, but. Other than that, generally the catchers are not that great. But I think as long as he stays in the single digits on FanDuel with the amount of power he has, it's hard not to roster him.
Yeah. And I agree with you on the Doosan bats, by the way. The 2 names I've written down as most likely to play are K-Her and Koon-Woo Park. And I'll add a note to J-Il-O, the lefty hitting against lefties. I saw him recently have one of those beautiful swings where he hit a line drive over the shortstop's head on a pitch outside. And that if you're a lefty hitting a lefty like that, you're on it. You are right on it. You've got
back control. Yep. I like him. I think he's an underrated player in this league. I really do. I think he's a solid player. How old is he? Is he one of the veteran guys? I don't look real quick here. I mean, just a cool 345.
And he's only 4,000 on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's reasonable price. He's consistent. You look at his output each day. I mean, the fantasy points, 15, 19, 13, 40, 25, 18, 21. I mean, this is a guy that not many people talk about very often, but he puts up the numbers. A guy to keep an eye on.
He's 33 years old. And the last 4 seasons before this one, he had at least 21 homers every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got a sweet swing, and definitely a guy to keep an eye on because he does not get high ownership for some reason. I don't know if it's because he bats 5th or what the deal is, but all right, cool. Anything else with that game?
Ready for the last one.
Okay. SK Wyverns 14 and 33. Samsung Lions are 500 at 24 and 24. MyBookie.ag has Samsung at a 156 favorite, and the over/under in that game is 9.5. So the question is here, how do you see this game playing out? And do you like any pitching here? Because actually, I sort of do.
I sure do too. It's back to Jung Hoon Park, the side armor. We talked about him a lot leading into that last slate, going against Doosan. That was my big night, actually, where I built one lineup with him and then built the Doosan stack against him a couple times, and Doosan got the better of him. But this is a guy who is really tough with that sidearm, a lot of movement, and he's at 48 strikeouts in 48 innings. Going against Samsung, he did really well against them earlier in the season, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Now, Ja-Wook Koo didn't play that game. He's obviously a very tough lefty. W. Lee did not play either, but Saladino is going to be out. So kind of mix and match from the strength of the hitting group as compared to last time. So, just given everything on the slate and these matchups, I want to go back to Park here and hope that folks shy away from him because of his last outing. And hopefully we can get him at slightly lower ownership. So I'm on Park tonight. How about you?
Well, I'm actually on the other pitcher. I'm not on Park. I don't dislike Park to the point where I'm going to stack against him, but I sort of like Cha in this game. Chae-Hyung Cha, he's going to get like single digits ownership. Nobody's going to be playing him. He gets to pitch at home against an anemic SK team. He's 4-2 with an ERA rate just barely at 4, but he's had some good outings. He can strike a guy out here and there, and SK strikes out a lot. The top 2 guys in the SK order, lefties. Cha does better against lefties, I think. Really, Jay Cha and Romack, the 3-4 hitters, are the only issues that I see in this game. If he can get through those guys and get to the bottom of this SK lineup, I think the bottom of the lineup is terrible. Kang Min Kim, Jae-Won Lee, the other Jay Cha, and S. Kim. I mean, those guys, forget it. So to me, if he can bear down in the 3-4 hole and get those guys out, I think he could put together a quality start. I just like this matchup. And on the other side, like I say, I'm not going to stack Samsung, but the two guys that I do like are H. Park, and I really like Jae-Wook Koo. I think that he feasts on these kind of pitchers, and I think this is just this is going to be a little tougher for Park having to face Koo and certainly W. Lee. I mean, W. Lee's expensive, Seok Lee. But, he's I like playing him, but it's just expense-wise. I think I'm going to go with K. Her from Doosan at third, and this way not have to spend the massive bucks on W. Lee. So, I think Chuck could be a very contrarian play, and he's cheap enough that it's going to help me get a few extra of those bats that I'd like to get in a few of these stacks. So see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think he will be low owned. I think it's a risky play, even though SK is not a strong lineup. Romack hit a home run against him last time. He did not do well, and Jung Choi wasn't even in the game that night. So, then the flip side of it is righties throughout the season have only hit 204 against him. So he manages to keep them off balance. But I'm going to shy away from that matchup mostly. Maybe get some exposure to Romack and or Jung Cha.
Well, you said the key thing. Righties are not hitting well against them, and I'm only really afraid of the 3-4 right-handed hitters for SK. So,
yep.
Again, it's a roll of the dice. It's a gamble. I'm not going to play him on FanDuel, but where you have to roster 2 on DraftKings, I think he's a good flyer that could really make your lineup contrarian and not having to spend up, on the more expensive pitchers. But it's an interesting slate. What we think is going to be a 4-game slate. There's certainly some potential. We don't have, it seems like we either have like 5 fantastic pitchers or, to me, this slate has 0 fantastic pitchers. So it's a completely, we either get a bunch of them or none of them, it seems like. But I think the night you hit, though, it was a little thin on pitching. So, sometimes you can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, and like you said, we like when there's things up in the air, games getting canceled, because we're going to be in lock for in Discord for our members. So we invite folks who like KBO and like PGA to come join the family, because we are providing for those 2 sports here while we wait for the big boys to come back. And the monthly membership right now will get you all the way through the end of August with all of our lineups. We give out a lineup on FanDuel every day for whatever sport we're covering. Right now it's PGA and KBO, and the player pool on DraftKings. So we'd love to have you come join the family.
Absolutely. And, as Andrew said, that, the time is not clicking on those memberships until the 30th. Then we'll have, that day we'll have both MLB and NBA and be back into the regular groove again. So we're very excited about that. And, we've been making some good bankroll for people to, get some stacks built up in their accounts for, when the big sports come back. So, join us, have fun with it. We have sim contests every day. We're, doing a lot of fun things in there, and we're down to 4 weeks. I mean, we're right in. We're honing in on sports coming back, so it's extremely exciting. We'd love to have you in there. You can also follow us if you're looking for more information on us. Follow us on YouTube and check out some of our library of videos. We have tons of them, podcasts on there. Basketball, baseball, football. We have some great strategy, bankroll management, and all kinds of things. So feel free to check that out. That's DFS Coach Talk on YouTube. We're on Instagram at DFS_Coach Talk, and on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. If you want to DM us directly, I'm at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. Andrew is at Language Olympic, and Shane is at DET Sports Shane. And we'd love to get any feedback, ideas, comments. We always respond to everything. We'll find a way to get to it, because we love that interaction, and we'd love to get you in Discord to do the same thing. And as Andrew said, on Discord, we're producing, which we'll do in all sports, is a real nice player pool that gives you some options and pivots, but a good core to build your DraftKings lineups. And it also lets you to pivot a little bit with that pool, whether you're a cash player or a GPP player. So it gives you some options there. And then FanDuel, we're producing a complete lineup and then a small little pool of pivots. Again, if you have more of a bend towards cash as opposed to GPPs or vice versa. So we're trying to, give a little something for everybody so it fits exactly what you're looking for. But it's a great time to check us out without the clock ticking and get to know our group. We have a fantastic group of members. Also, take the time, please, to follow us on any of those social media sites, specifically on YouTube. Subscribe and click that little alarm bell so you know when we're posting podcasts. We're posting a little later than we were going to today because we were watching that weather very closely. But if you click that bell, then you don't have to keep looking to see when it's up there. You'll get a notification. Same thing, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we're always posting a lot of information up there. And then lastly, our charity of choice here at DFS Coach Talk is mambaon3.org. It's all spelled out, MAMBAONTHREE.org. Fantastic, charity set up for the surviving families of the Kobe tragedy. So all of that said, I think this is a nice slate because we're going to get some advantageous positioning, I think, with that rain out and with people not being real sure what the situation is going to be. So jump aboard, see us in Discord tonight, check it out, and get that edge on everybody else.
That's right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
We appreciate you, and tomorrow is we'll be back with KBO. Remember, you can catch us here podcasts Monday through Saturday for KBO, and every Wednesday and Friday for PGA. So 8 podcasts. We generally keep them all right around 30 minutes, so you get a lot of really good, solid info. But it doesn't take too much of your time that you don't have time to build some lineups. So we love that you joined us. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we will look to catch you again tomorrow when we crush it in DFS.